That's the one I was looking for earlier. He's behind the mic.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the January 2nd regular City Council meeting and call it to order. For those in the audience that would like to join the council and myself in the Pledge of Allegiance, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming this evening. The first item of business under special business tonight is the swearing-in ceremony, and we have 5 council members and 4 council members and a mayor being sworn in tonight.
Would Mary Lou Polly please move to the lectern to be sworn in?
Not being sworn.
That might help. Huh?
Yeah. You didn't tell me I had to memorize it. So. If I can have you raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Mary Lou Polly,
I, Mary Lou Polly,
having been duly elected
to
the office
office
of City of Issaquah Mayor
of City of Issaquah Mayor,
a 4-year term
a 4-year term,
beginning January 1st, 2018,
beginning January 1st, 2018,
do solemnly swear
or affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office as prescribed by law and to the best of my ability. That I will support and maintain the Constitution of the State of Washington and the United States of America. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
You get 2 to sign.
Thank you very much. I would like to call Chris Ray to please proceed to the lectern.
Okay, good. Have you raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Chris Way,
I, Chris Ray,
having been duly elected to the office
having been duly elected to the office
of City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 1, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office as prescribed by law and to the best of my ability. That I will support and maintain the Constitution of the State of Washington and the United States of America. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'd like to call Mariah Batiste to the lectern.
Have you raised your right hand? Repeat after me. I, Mariah Batiste, having duly been elected to the office of City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 2, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this office as prescribed by law and to the best of my ability. That I will support and maintain the Constitution of the State of Washington and the United States of America. Congratulations. Thanks.
Stacy Goodman, please proceed to the lectern.
Have you raised your right hand? Repeat after me. I, Stacy Goodman,
I, Stacy Goodman,
having been duly elected
having been duly elected
to the office of
to the office of
City of Issaquah, council position number 5,
City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 5,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of this office
discharge the duties of this office
as prescribed by law
as prescribed by law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
That I will support and maintain the Constitution
That I will support and maintain the Constitution
of the State of Washington
of the State of Washington
and of the United States of America.
and of the United States of America.
Congratulations. Yeah, you got 3 of them. One more. Perfect. Congrats and thanks. Okay.
I'd like to call Tola Martz to proceed to the lectern.
Okay. Have you raised your right hand? Repeat after me. I, Tola Martz,
I, Tola Martz,
having been duly elected
having been duly
to
elected
the office of
to the office of
City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 7,
City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 7,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of this office
as
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability,
That I will support
that I will support
and maintain
and maintain
the Constitution of the State of Washington
the Constitution of the State of Washington
and of the United States of America.
and of the United States of America.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
The only one to correct me that once you say I swear, you don't say affirm, but that's how I do it in court. Yeah, I'll teach you in the hall. Congrats. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Normally at this time, we would continue on with our business meeting, but I'm looking at the crowd of people that came tonight, family, friends, and community members, to congratulate our new and re-elected council members. So I'm going to call for a recess until 7:15 so that everybody can come down and say hi and greet you, and feel free to stay for our meeting, but no obligation.
When it is good to be at the end.
Yes, exactly. Carl operated drone.
I'm going to call the meeting back to order. Our second order of business tonight is AB 7500. It is the election of council president and deputy council president for 2018. The process we'll use this evening is I will call for nominations. When all nominations have been made, there will be a motion to close nominations would be in order. I'll then call for a vote on the motion to close, and council members will be provided with an opportunity to discuss nominees. I will then ask the council members to cast votes by a show of hands. The council member receiving the majority vote is declared the council president. I'll repeat the process for the deputy council president position. So I will call for nominations. Councilmember Goodman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I nominate Tola Martz for council president for 2018.
Second.
Are there any other nominations?
I actually moved to close nominations.
Thank you, Councilmember Winterstein. An opportunity to discuss the candidates. Nominee. Discuss the nominee.
A free-for-all discussion?
Free for all.
Let's
All of it. I'll call for the vote. Please cast your vote in favor with a show of hands. All in favor of the nominee. Council President. Five in favor. Congratulations, Council President Tola Martz. Are there any nominations for the position of Deputy Council President? Councilmember Martz.
I nominate Mariah Batiste.
Councilmember Winterstein.
I move that we close nominations.
Thank you. The nominations are closed.
Do you need a second for the motion?
Do they need a second? Okay.
Motion.
Yes.
Second.
This is an opportunity for you to discuss the nominee. Any comments? I'll call for the vote by a show of hands. Please raise your hand if you're in favor of the nominee for Deputy Council President. 5 votes. Congratulations, Councilmember Batiste.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
And I would guess I would ask the clerk at this point in time, is it appropriate to be changing seats, moving them around for this meeting, or staying in their place?
I think that would be appropriate, if you would like.
Around? Or stay?
Council, what's your preference?
Stay.
Stay.
I think for this evening, I think they're going to stay. Everybody is set up.
Opposite in between.
Next item of business this evening is audience comments. You'll notice that there's an overhead up on the screen that you can read that talks about how audience comments works at our council meetings. Your comments and coming tonight to share your concerns and issues with us or ask questions is a very important part of our public process. Anybody who wishes to comment this evening can approach the podium and identify themselves by stating your name and your address. If you can limit your comments to 5 minutes or less, that would be appreciated. Thank you very much for coming tonight to address us with your comments. Has anybody signed up this evening to speak?
No, no one has signed up.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council this evening? Steve, come on up.
Hi, good evening. Steve Pereira, 170 Northeast Dogwood Street, about 10 years. So first of all, just kind of democracy in action. It's good to see it. It's good to see the start of a new year, start of new elected representatives. Hopefully this will be kind of a start of maybe greater public participation in that democratic process. So thanks to all of you for volunteering to serve as elected representatives. The second topic was snow on December 24th and 25th. Very beautiful in Issaquah. It was really awesome to look at. In addition to that, though, it gave me a chance to say thank you to all of the folks that I saw doing snow removal and sanding and plowing on those days to help us get about. So thanks to those involved in Public Works for that. Related was also that I wanted to see we all, I think, enjoy the beauty of Issaquah. I'd like to see that maintained. Part of that, I would like to see the moratorium extended to include Old Town, not just the Central Issaquah plan. I wanted to be explicit in that request. Currently, that moratorium that only includes the Central Issaquah plan, which doesn't include the Old Town area. I've heard other council members talk about that, maintaining that beauty. Part of that is the height and scale of the buildings, size. I think it also includes housing portions that aren't currently included, so I'd like to see that extended. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Is there anyone else who would like to provide comment this evening? Connie Marsh.
Hi, Connie Marsh. I live up on Squawk, and fun to see new arrangements up there. The pilot project for Old Town is on the consent agenda when I looked, and when I attended the committee meeting, I thought there were some sort of unanswered questions that I think should be brought down to the public meeting and discussed. Now, I could be reading the agenda inappropriately. It might just be about funding a very minor part of it, and there's going to be more discussion on another night about how it's actually going to work. But without the conclusion of the follow-up of that meeting, I'm uncomfortable having it be on consent. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Marsh. Yep.
Skip Rowley, 1595 Northwest Gilman. Just a couple of items. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't publicly thank Eileen and Fred for all the service that they have put in. I don't know how many years that those two have put together for the benefit of Issaquah, and I know that you as a council and new mayor know the amount of hours that it takes, but I'm sure that a lot of the people sitting here watching this don't. And I know that it's just an unbelievable sacrifice and wonderful thing that they do for our community. And for both Fred Butler and Eileen Barber, I want to say thank you. I'm here just to mention the moratorium. I'm one of these that would like to see us get out of this moratorium. I don't want to have your staff have to draft code to fit a vision. It's impossible to do. I trust that the staff will do an excellent job in doing and tweaking the things necessary, but hopefully we will look forward to getting out of this moratorium as soon as possible. Finally, I made a mistake last month and didn't show up for a meeting. And where I thought we were going to have 3 police officers, they disappeared. And I don't know how that happened or who said what to whom. But you folks owe us as citizens and property owners just 3 things. You owe us public works, you owe us fire, and you owe us police. Everything else comes secondary to those items. I sat through 2 presentations by the police chief where he went through a very detailed explanation as to why those officers were needed, having to do with the number of calls per officer and what he's facing. And I would hope that as a council you would look on favor of providing those 3 new officers. It takes a while to get them. I know that you've got the money for it, so I would hope that you could see your way to change that budget around and provide the citizens with some additional police service. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowley. Dave?
Good evening, David Kapler, 255 Southeast Andrews Street. It is kind of strange not seeing Fred and Eileen here, but we got a great group, and a positive forward motion is in place. We had some significant rains recently, and if you went to the stream gauges for the Hobart one or at the one just below the bridge there at 56, you saw some practically vertical lines as the going up, but we didn't really get the flooding that I think we would have had a few years ago. And I think that's response. We've had some significant things done in Tibbetts Creek, the Talus development, the Rowley agreement, improvements on the creek. The Talus developer did significant stabilization of mine wastes up above them. We have the swirl area at the Tibbetts Manor, and it's just a huge improvement. And in the main stem, the combination, the forestry occurring in the King County Taylor Mountain Forest, part of our headwaters, and the state forest on Tiger Mountain. It's significant improvements in how forests are upstream are being managed, and it's definitely to our advantage here in the city. So let's keep that going. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening? Second call. Any other speakers for this evening? And last call. Thank you. That's the end of public comments. The next item on our agenda is committee and regional reports, and we will start with new council member Ray, but I think he has a pretty short report.
I have nothing to report at this time.
What? Thank you. Councilmember Batiste.
Thank you. No report this evening.
Sorry, Councilmember Winterstein.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about LTAC, GMPB, and also infrastructure at Bill's request because he's absent. Starting with Lodging Tax Advisory Commission, there is a bill on the agenda for services and safety regarding the formation of a destination marketing organization per the recommendation of LTAC. And I expect that our staff support, Tim Dutter, will be there to speak and do a short presentation for services and safety. LTAC, we did get together before Christmas and made a recommendation to add a public engagement opportunity to the vetting of this DMO concept. And so I think what you're going to hear from Tim at the Services and Safety is about that and how the LTAC, it's a commission, will be in attendance. It'll be the date is on January 17th. It's going to be at the train depot, which is a city-owned property. After that, LTAC will be meeting again to incorporate anything that was learned or brought up from the public engagement meeting to alter and refine the plan for the DMO, and then hopefully come back to Services and Safety at the meeting in February to present an altered plan based upon the public engagement meeting. So that's the update from LTAC. GMPB, the Growth Management Policy Board, is meeting this Thursday. The major issues on the agenda, we're setting the scope for updating vision. Today, the region is guided by something known as Vision 2040. It's going to take 2.5 years, but we're going to update that thing, and they're going to call it Vision 2050. So that process is just being kicked off, and actually setting the scoping for that process is a big item that we're going to handle on Thursday. But also on Thursday, the update to the Regional Centers framework is not complete. So we're going to continue where we left off. We did not finish that in 2017. The last time we met was at the end of November. So there's still quite a few comments that have been received that have to be reviewed. Staff is still, PSRC staff is still hoping that by the end of, that in February it can be complete, but we shall see. My own sense is there was still quite a bit of gap on certain issues and that the board really doesn't have consensus on a certain number of matters. So those are the agenda items for that meeting on this coming Thursday. And then for infrastructure, they met. Bill Ramos, who was chair of that last year, asked me to just say a few words about that meeting. We met on December 21st. And two items of note. There was a franchise agreement with Verizon, which is Agenda Bill 7495. And Verizon is requesting this franchise agreement to install what are known as small cell devices in our public right-of-way roadways, not on telephone poles or power poles owned by the city, but instead those owned by Puget Sound Energy. And and the original ask was to have this franchise agreement citywide. Per the infrastructure's discussion earlier, in the meeting earlier, they narrowed their request to one specific right-of-way. It's just on Issaquah Fall City Road. Or is it Pine Lake Road? It's one of those two roads. I should know. I apologize. And so now this franchise agreement is limited just to that one roadway. The council had a lot of conversation. These are small cell is new technology. Guess what? The industry is innovating. They are investing. They want to add, create improved service to their customers. But this is equipment that has to be installed on every pole. There will be a visual impact to all of this. And the committee was concerned about that element of this installation. And another one that I personally am interested in is we asked our legal guidance who was there, who was being provided, if whether or not we could put language in this franchise agreement that would require Verizon to honor net neutrality if they're going to use our public right-of-way. And we've got advice that the way the FCC made that ruling, that they claim jurisdiction over the entire United States, that there's going to be a couple states that may be challenging them in court. And so I'm committed to watching that closely, because I feel strongly that if we are going to allow a commercial enterprise to use our public right-of-way, something as critical for the public good as I believe net neutrality is, we should keep an eye on that and see what happens in the courts and whether or not Issaquah can make sure and do our part in making sure that the internet remains free and open. And the other thing that was mentioned at that meeting was Old Town traffic calming. We heard a comment about this during public comment. That's Agenda Bill 7536. It is on consent this evening for approval of what it is. It's for the approval of the bid to hire a contractor to install the temporary calming devices and to measure their effectiveness and gather feedback from local residents. That's what we're being asked on consent to consider this evening. I want to give a quick update. There was a lot of conversation at that meeting. And before I get to those details, I want to remind everybody who's interested in this, there will be a project walkthrough scheduled for this Saturday, January 6th at 10 a.m. And all members of the public are welcome and invited, and we can meet staff at the Issaquah Trails House, right over here, at 10 a.m., and the actual walking tour. There will be materials that they pass out where the devices are planning to be installed, and some more information and Q&A opportunities available, and the walking tour will begin around 10:15 a.m. So I do encourage anybody with an interest in that to join us at 10 a.m. this Saturday at the Trails House for that walking tour. Now, the issues that got a lot of attention had to do with like the location of the traffic calming devices, and the committee talked quite a bit and heard quite a bit from the public about maybe there was not an engineering plan to put one on 6th Avenue. I just learned today that the PWE is open to that, and at this point is now planning on getting some device installed as part of this trial, this 10-week trial on 6th Avenue. And that happened directly as a result from public participation, and I was really glad to see that. So that was one item. Another item had to do with the whether or not the turning motions, the current turning restrictions should be lifted during this trial period. We talked about that quite a bit as well, and we heard comments both for removing those restrictions and retaining those restrictions. I would say from the public there were probably more in favor of retaining those restrictions. It was suggested at the meeting that maybe during this 10-week period those turning restrictions could be partly on for a while and then off for a while, so you could study the effect with them on and off. And I do know from PWE this evening that they are open to that and are looking at a way to actually conduct this trial with a time with the turning restrictions on and time with the turning restrictions off. And I personally, I like that. I heard that at the infrastructure meeting and mentioned my support for that concept as well. And so that's the committee voted in favor of going forward with the plan. If anybody wants to talk about it any more to bring it down off consent, we can do that. And if you have any questions for me at that time, or Mary Lou, who was on it as well, and that your capacity back as a council member, maybe you could discuss it as well. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Winterstein. Councilmember Martz?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Services and Safety Committee will be meeting on Tuesday, January 9th, here in Council Chambers at 6:30 p.m. We have presently 2 items on the agenda. Agenda Bill 7522, which is this Visit Issaquah organization that Councilmember Winterstein mentioned. And yes, indeed, today got confirmation Tim Dutter is in fact the person who's going to be presenting to us. And then the other bill is Agenda Bill 7295, which concerns amendments to the Issaquah Municipal Code regarding construction codes. Then the Sound Cities Association Public Issues Committee will meet on Wednesday, January 10th at 7 p.m. in Renton City Hall. And there will be a discussion of 2 items, the 2018 state legislative session and then the Regional Transportation System Initiative. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Martz. Councilmember Goodman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Land and Shore typically would meet this Thursday, January 4th, but the meeting has been canceled for lack of agenda items, which is quite different those past few years. That's my report.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda this evening is the mayor's report, and I have 4 items to share. The first, there will be an executive session held this evening to discuss the acquisition of real estate for RCW 42.30.110, bracket 1, bracket B. This is expected to take approximately 45 minutes, and no action is anticipated to follow an open session. Second, during the month of December, I had the great pleasure of meeting with nearly all of the city department directors and their managers and discussed the mayoral transition and the bountiful work plans that they have for 2018. This Friday, your council and I, on January 5th, will be hosting our 2018 legislative breakfast. We have invited state representatives and senior staff from several state departments to discuss Issaquah's priorities for 2018. My last item is an administrative one, and I wanted to let everybody know that in 2018, we will be starting with a change in our city administration. After many years of dedicated service, City Administrator Bob Harrison is leaving to pursue other opportunities. I wish Bob well in his future endeavors. I have asked Emily Moon, the Deputy City Administrator, to serve as an interim City Administrator. I'm intending to launch a national competitive recruitment for the City Administrator position, and I will keep you all posted. Next item is the consent calendar. And have the payables and payroll for January 2nd been reviewed?
They have.
Thank you. Can you please read the consent calendar into the record?
Yes, the consent calendar was distributed to council in advance for study. If authorized, council action will occur by single motion regarding the following items. Item A seeks approval of the accounts payables and payroll of January 2nd. Items B and C seeks approval of the minutes of the council committee work sessions of December 11th and December 13th. Item D, AB 7295, amendments to IMC 1604, construction codes, seeks referral to council services and safety committee. Item E, AB 7536, Old Town Traffic Calming Pilot Program, and 2017 Complete Streets Funding, seeks to award bid and authorize funding. This concludes the reading.
Thank you. Does any council member desire to remove any item from the current calendar and consider it under regular business? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Consent calendar is approved unanimously. Next item on business is regular business, and there is none scheduled for this evening, which is the first in 12 months. Woohoo! So we will move to good of the order. Do any council member, and Council Member Martz has his hand up for good of the order.
I do. I just want to thank outgoing Council President Goodman and outgoing Deputy Council President Pauly for their 2 years of leadership. I have very large boots to step into, Stacy, even though you're shorter than I am. I don't know, metaphorical boots. But I really appreciate your leadership during exceptional challenges, particularly with the moratorium. And so I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mariah.
I, too, just wanted to thank both of you for all your hard work and efforts over the last years, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Batiste. Anything else for good of the order? Last item this evening is our executive session. This executive session will be held this evening to discuss acquisition of real estate per RCW 42.30.110, bracket 1, bracket B. This is expected to take approximately 45 minutes. No action is anticipated to follow open session. We will now recess into executive session at 7:42.
Then I gotta be here.
We are back in open session at 8:50 PM, and there being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:51 PM. Oh.